Well, overall, Susan, welcome to virtual Las Vegas. We have the Luxor Hotel here behind us. And we were thinking about the Bellagio, but the Bellagio fountain, would kind of at a standstill. So we figured, okay, now the pyramids will, have been here forever and continue to remain strong.
Yeah, great, very nice.
Let's talk about this topic of being a female member of a board. This must not have always been the case in your career for women on boards in ophthalmology. Am I right?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Matt. I mean, if you just look at the makeup of boards overall right now, right? So globally, there's people who do it better. I think there's a higher concentration of women on board outside of the U.S., but just look at in the United States, 1 in 10, right? So when you look at the board member makeup in the United States, only one in 10 board members are women.
Huh. That's very interesting. Well, I was just reading today about how there are not many female grandmasters in chess either. Do you think that there's anything that prevents women from being on boards?
So no, Matt, I really don't, right? So you look at the business that we're in. So, so science and math, and you look at women in science and math, right? And the makeup of that, and I think just at women in business in general. So there's definitely something that sort that as we look at 50%, right, of the working population is women, but then when we look up to senior executive leadership as well as boards, right? There's this culling effect such that we've only got 1 in 10 women, right? Making it to the upper rank. So I don't think from an intellectual perspective or from a capability perspective that there's anything, from that standpoint. I think it's really more about opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've experienced in my own career, it's about mentoring and really sponsorship, right? So, so working with in a collaborative way, right, in an organization. So it's more about mentoring and sponsorship in terms of getting to those levels and exposure, quite frankly, opportunity and exposure.
Well, talking about mentorship, since you've done it now 3 times, what was it like to try to get on the board the first time around, and how did you feel once you had done it?
Yeah, I think so. It's also interesting that the 3 boards that I'm serving on are all run by female CEOs.
Oh,
So,
really? Wow, that is telling.
yes. So the 2 private companies as well as the public company board that I just joined are all run by female CEOs. And then also, I've had sponsors and advocates. So working in this industry through my network and my connections and in the roles that I have had, senior leadership roles and mergers and acquisitions, I've met a lot of individuals who have actually taken me under their wing, right? So, and have built, uh, close relationships with these folks who advocate, right, for these
Yeah.
situations. People are out there looking, and that's what you want. So when somebody says, I'm looking for a board member, and here's kind of what I'm thinking and what I want, it's not about male or female, it's who fits best, right? So, but then there also is this issue because you do have, there's actual now mandates in like California for females on board. So we have got to do a better job, I think, in the U.S. as well as globally of giving the same opportunities to women so that they are prepared to be able to serve on these boards. So we can't have a mandate and not have a pipeline of women, right, ready to serve. So, and that just means you've got to give them more opportunities within the workforce and the exposure from a business perspective and the training really of what it means to be on a board in order for them to be ready. So we've got to just do a better job preparing the pipeline of women and executive board.
Now, I bet that there's a misconception out there that board members spend most of their time playing golf. I suspect that would also, be more stereotypical among the male contingent as well. But as a female board member, how do you find you spend your time? Is this a 9-to-5 job, or how do you engage with the company as part of a board?
Yeah, so I would say, no, it's not. So I do enjoy golf, by the way. So I do play time, but like anywhere else, I would say, right? And when I look at my work life, I call it, it's not work-life balance, it's a work-life rhythm. So 24/7, I don't look at traditional work hours being 9 to 5, right? So you're working in a rhythm, and most of even the board activities. So it's like everything else, we have our day jobs, and then this tends to be a night and weekend.
It is. Okay.
With all of that. So
it actually can make your life more intense.
It does, actually. So there is you have to have a commitment, right, for the time. I mean, there are people who are, and if you look at the makeup of boards, it's usually executives who are retired, right? So they're not necessarily working a day job, so you can have board meetings during the day. But, for me, I'm running, I'm establishing and running a business, and then I'm also, doing this at nights and weekends, or as needed, right? So certainly matters come up ad hoc where you need to convene an emergency board session, but it really is, it's additive, it's not taking away from my other work.
And finally, does that mean that therefore, is that one reason that maybe it's more difficult for women to be on a board because, there could be children involved, or that there needs to be attention paid to the family in some cases? Is it a little bit more of a struggle sometimes for women to be on boards for that kind of reason?
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. Certainly, as a member of OWL and Women in Ophthalmology, we talk about these types of things, right? Because it's balance, when you look at the article that had come out, in the last few years, right? And can you really have it all, right? And
right.
So it is. So can we be a professional and a good mother and a good homemaker, right? And a good, can you be good at everything, right? And I think it's it's the family decides, right? Those conversations are had within the family. You negotiate your roles and the balance on how it needs to work, and then, quite frankly, outsourcing works, right? So when you look at you don't want to outsource raising your children necessarily, but it's how do I really have it all, right? So it's what do I want to do, and what can I do, and what as in a partnership and at home, right? So with a partner, how do we balance and make this work for us, right? So I can pursue my interests and my potential, and so we can both, right, have that, satisfy our wants and our potential, right, from a professional and personal standpoint.
I would assume that same message is relevant for younger men also coming up through the ranks, because as we know, OWL is now ophthalmic world leaders, and so I guess it's more about all of us being more attuned to what needs to happen in order for balances to be struck.
That's right. Yeah. And I was fortunate. My husband is very, very supportive. He's retired now, but he was a teacher, right? His career was a teacher. So he was the trailing spouse for my career, and he was very supportive.
Well, thank you, Susan, for joining us here today. We really appreciate your insights from America, in particular, alongside the AAO. We indeed hope to see you there.
Yeah, thanks so much, Matt. Yeah, you'll see me there. Thanks so much.
That was great. Thanks again for your time.